There'll be a new one coming out here as soon as I get this rewritten up.
Oh, good.
There's a lot more to it after basically going to the hospital and playing around up there. I found out a lot more stuff that people just don't understand what's all going on here.
And how are you
This is an
doing?
open mic. This is going to be an open mic, okay? You guys have questions, jump in, okay? I'll try and go through what I found out, okay? Everything out here is on a patient-physician scenario. Everything. These attorneys and everything out here in the Bar Association are doctors of law. They're physicians of law. Okay? They're basically, attorneys, but they're also doctors of law. So they're physicians. And they're dealing with the dead. They're the physicians of the dead. Okay? In all cases, except unless you've gone out and actually caused real harm. Then they have to practice real law. Okay? But you go up there and you check out what it says about, in the dictionary, about what it says about a patient. Okay? I'll read it here to you. Patient. One being cared for a sickness, disabled, or diseased by physician or nurse. One receiving dental care or undergoing dental work. A person may be a patient without his consent when the facts tend to show that through bodily suffering his mind has partially lost its hold, and for under such circumstances it may still be the professional duty of the physician to treat him. You have a sickness of not understanding the monetary system. That is a disease, okay? Just like any other disease, it affects your health and everything else. All of these contracts you have, basically out here, are all related around the monetary, the dead money system. The cancer that's basically slowly killing you. And then the attorneys, the Bar Association, are doctors. They're doctors of law, physicians of law. You go into the hospital. You go just about anywhere. You look at your driver's license. In the state of Iowa here, the only red item that is on my driver's license is DOB, date of birth, BIRTH. The number's in black, but those three letters are in red. That's the set-off number that we were talking about the other day. You go into the hospital. You get a little ID card put on your arm. What's the number they put on there? They don't put your Social Security number on there. They put the date of your birth. The probability of you being birthed, BIRTH, on a certain date in a certain year, and somebody else in this country being born that same day with the same name is almost an improbability. That's why they use that date. That's the set-off number for your bankrupt person. On the B10 form, the 4-digit number that goes in block 3 would be like 1949 for me. The last 4 digits of that 8-digit number. The month is in 2 digits, and the date is in 2 digits. So you've got an 8-digit set-off number. I just didn't see that. I kept looking at that. Then every place I went around there, first thing they ask, what is your date of birth? Date of birth. Because that's the set-off number that they can put in to put a claim in against you. Your driver's license, the same thing. Almost every document that you've ever done out there, you always had to give the date of your birth. You may or may not have to give the Social Security number, but even on the Social Security account, you still had to give the date of your birth. See, that's the number we were looking for, and we just didn't see it. But you can go in and check out what it says about physician, about what it says about doctor. And basically, an attorney is a doctor of law. If he's got a bar license, he has a physician's license. A physician is required to have a license. Well, a doctor of law does have a license, and it's that bar license. So you're in basically this monetary hospital out here, but it was voluntary check-in. Like one flew over the cuckoo's nest, like Patch Adams, and a couple other movies out there about the mental institutions that people checked in voluntarily. Well, they could involuntarily check out. Just like the movie Hotel California. You can check out any time. And then basically they're holding us in this hospital, and they are the inmate. We're an inmate in there, and basically they're also an inmate or an intern within the system because they're a debtor too. So it's just like a prison, and the trustees in the prison are running the prison. But it gets a little better than that, okay? And the trustee process, okay, in Massachusetts, trustee process. In Massachusetts, this is a process given by statute in emanating from foreign attachment of the English law. By this process, a creditor may attach any property or credits of his debtor in the hands of a third person. The third person is, in English law, called a garnishee. In Massachusetts, he's called a trustee. Doesn't say what he's called in the rest of the country, but everybody's been running around here going to the court calling them trustees. I think the correct term is garnishee, because they have garnished our assets. When you look up the definition of a garnishee and also garnishment in the dictionary and go to more than one of them, okay, it's talking about a third person who's holding our assets. We have to get the third person into the court action. Therefore, like on traffic tickets, who is the garnishee? It's the prosecutor. You have to turn around and do a cross action. In a mortgage, it's the bank, it's the third person who has placed a garnishment against your assets and is holding the funds. You have to bring the garnishee into the action to set off the charges. Not the trustee, it's garnishee. Because they garnished our assets. And they're a third person in the process. Hopefully this makes a little more sense, and you guys can jump in here at any time if you have any comments or anything like that. Don't hold back. The only way you're going to learn anything is to open your goddamn mouth. Okay? Speak up.
I noticed at my last appointment at the cardiologist, they asked me my date of birth twice. I was thinking, why is this all the time? I see.
The nurse comes in, draws blood. What's your date of birth? You go to the checkout for drugs. What's your date of birth? I had more damn needles stuck in me up there the other day. Basically, they were flabbergasted. They could see my veins as well as they did, but basically they kept sticking me. But every time they stuck me, what's your date of birth?
So could you pay with your birth certificate?
Huh?
Could you make payments with your birth certificate then?
Yes. With that other 8-digit number, if you have a copy of your birth certificate, or you could just go in and put the B-10 form in to the bankruptcy court using your date of birth, your last 4 digits, your year of birth. That's the number that your debtor is recognized by, his date of birth. That was the date of abandonment. That's what date of birth, DOB, is abandonment date. BIRTH means abandonment. BERTH is when you were patented to the land. That's the date that we have to start operating with, is that we have a birth issued patent date. And that's not going to be the same as your initial date.
Yeah. I'm also.
Got a question?
No, sorry, Patrick.
Okay.
I have a question.
Okay.
When my daughter was in for cancer, she had all kinds of papers that she had to sign, and she signed them all without recourse. Now, they sent us a bill, she passed away, and so the mother, got the bill. And I sent back one of your forms that you had made out. I don't remember now what it was. Put my fingerprint on it. And They never came back again with any charges.
No third-party debt collector or anything like that just tried to come after you?
Nope.
Okay. And see, you probably filled out the B-10 form and sent it in, and basically they set it off against her bankrupt account, which is still sitting up there in the hands of the physicians, the doctors of law.
Mhm.
And see, is what we're going to be doing, okay? I modified this. I went to the county recorder's office and submitted my document in that I had posted up there. The PDF, Tom's, I think, got posted up there. The clerk of the court, no, not the clerk of the court, the county recorder took those and tried to get them into the system, but she couldn't file them into the system to where they should be going in there into the Bureau of Vital Statistics, and with the certificate of live birth, and with my DD 214, she checked with the VA, and she checked around. Okay, she did a good job, and I thanked her for it. Okay, she spent a little time, but she is willing to try and work with me to find this out. And I said, well, when I went through it and everything and came back in there and picked them up the other day on Thursday afternoon, I said, well, it appears that we're going to have to go to the original territorial or the federal district territorial land patent court. All of these federal districts, okay, and there's 96 of them, okay, out here. But they all operate under a 3-digit number, not under a 2-digit 96 number, okay? They're a 3-digit number. You'll see, like, mine is 114 for my federal territorial district. And then they jump a bunch of numbers, and basically down in Missouri it's like 124. But they're all in a 3-digit scenario in this land patent, federal district territorial land patent court. And I got thinking about this. This is probably the green jacket filing that we were looking for years ago when we submit this in. We're coming in as the plaintiffs for cause, okay, when we do our update into this action, and it's coming in with the United States of America as the assignor, and then we are the assignee. But I got a little funny with them. I'm coming in as the law office of Patrick, patented estate attorney in fact for the assignee, Mr. Patrick Devine, Devine. They say they're not going to file any of my stuff unless basically they have an attorney file it, so basically I'm coming in also as an attorney in fact, not an attorney at law, but an attorney in fact. The old standard in Anderson's dictionary for an attorney at law basically did not require any bar license. But the new definition of attorney at law basically does require a bar license. So we'll just be the attorney in fact, basically accomplishing essentially the same scenario. And then I'm coming in versus the Iowa Department of Public Health, Bureau of Health Statistics, and the American Bar Association, and the Social Security Administration, as they are the defendants and garnishees. And I'll send 2 copies up there to the court, and when recorded, return a timestamp copy to me, to my law office. Then I have my declaration going into the federal land court, and it's in a existing land patent case. We have an open land patent court case. And that is your land patent number. Your 3 digits or whatever, the number that's on the top of your certificate of live birth, your registration number. That's your patent number. Your case number also. Your territorial land patent case number. And then we go through and a couple changes down below on the first column under the patent survey statistics. I've changed it to original patent survey statistics and then present patent survey statistics. I have the BIRTH date of when I was born and abandoned or separated. BIRTH means abandoned or separated. That's when they cut the umbilical cord. Then I have a birthing patent issue date, and that's when that patent number was issued. And normally it's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of up to 3 months after you were born. And that is BERTHING, patent issue date. And we just never came in and claimed that date and that patent. The garnishees have overstepped their time limit in the process. And that's what I'm saying. You people have to really go through the dictionary. Also, they have garnishment bonds in there. And when you read the definition of that, you're going to say, well, oh, now I can see what all these bonds are. They're called garnishment bonds. And they're supposed to be obtaining a dissolution of the garnishment that they put into place. But we haven't come in and ordered the garnishee to make the set-off. Then they have infringed upon our name using a bankrupt name so similar to our birthing name that basically it confuses everybody. And that's also an infringement of patent. And the infringement of patent is basically that they are holding that beyond the 25th year. Really beyond the Social Security account, beyond the 7-year contract, which would have been 25. The military, beyond the 25 years. So they're an infringement of patent. The use of a patent invention beyond the valid terms of a license. the American Bar Association, an organization, members of the Bar of the United States or of a state, country, or county, or municipal. The primary function, which is improved, is the improvement of the profession, which will result in improvement in the administration of justice. Well, I don't think they have improved the administration of justice one bit. They have used it for their benefit. And basically, this bar association is the old baron, B-A-R-O-N, of title of nobility out of England. A person having the most general and universal title of the English nobility, a judge or officer of the court of exchequer, a husband, a vassal of the king. Barrow, B-A-R-O, a baron, a knight, a freeman. Well, I don't think they fit all that, but basically, that's what you need to do is start looking through these items. Bear, B-A-R-E, license. One who possesses on premises is not invented, but not resisted, merely tolerated. See, licensee. Professional misconduct. That's a good one. Professional society. And see, that's what the Bar Association is a professional society. An organization of the members of a particular profession for their mutual benefit, the benefit of the profession, and the benefit of the public. Well, I think they forgot all about the public in reality in their professional society. They kept it for their mutual benefit and for the benefit of their profession, and that's it. And they forgot the third one. They forgot you, the public. There was never supposed to be any debtor prisons in this damn country. But yet they're out here punishing the hell out of you. Why? Because you're in an insane asylum. And they're going to control you and basically force any drugs down you that they want to. You don't have to take the drugs when you go to the hospital. Had a little Indian nurse or doctor the other day. She kept trying to force or talk me into taking these more convoluted and drugs and everything that I knew that once you get onto those, then basically to try and come off those, then it becomes a life-threatening situation. So you don't get on those to begin with. There's other items out here that you can basically take and get out of the system. You can sort of watch the movie Limitless. It's about this guy who gets hooked up on this certain drug, but then he weans himself off because he re-engineers the drug. to remove all the bad side effects. And see, that's what we have to do, is re-engineer our monetary system to remove all the bad side effects of this drug so that we can wean ourselves off of this debtor monetary system. There's a whole bunch of miswords in there too. Miscarriage, miscarriage of justice. And see, people don't see how this all affects. Misconduct of an attorney, professional misconduct. Well, basically, if they're a doctor of law, they're a professional, and they're showing misconduct. Misconduct of a physician. Misdelivery. The delivery of goods by a carrier to some person other than the one whom they were consigned. They weren't delivered to you. They were delivered to some other person, and then they divided them up. Then there's a Latin phrase there, and it says, wretched is the stardom where the law is either uncertain or unknown. And basically, yeah, they're operating under that one, because basically the law is uncertain and really unknown out here, because it's hidden away. You haven't abandoned your property. You have mislaid it, and you can look up mislaid property. Property located in a place of which the owner has no recollection, although he put the property in such place voluntarily and intentionally. That's the first one. Second one is property placed by the owner in a location for which he has forgotten a bit. He selected it intentionally as a place where he might later pick up the property. Mismanagement. Improper management. And basically that's what these guys are. Improper management and inefficient management or inefficient management, particularly on the part of an officer, agent, trustee, or other person in a fiduciary capacity. A garnishee is another person in a fiduciary capacity. But you've got to use the right words in court. You use trustee, and basically that's not what they really are. They're a garnishee. Did they not garnish your assets when they wrote the traffic ticket? Did they not garnish your assets when they gave you a driver's license, when they gave you a certificate of title to the vehicle, when they gave you a mortgage, when they gave you a marriage license? Those are all garnishment instruments. And then they are misusers. The use of the privileges and franchises conferred upon a corporation in such a manner as to defeat the ends for which the corporation was established. They were supposed to be accessing our funds, and we were supposed to be the assured person here. Like we're the little orphan in the orphanage house, but basically the person that's running the orphanage house is living a life of luxury while we're sitting there eating bread and water. Little Orphan Annie, good example of that one. So that should have given you some good words to basically start looking at and use the dictionaries. That's what they're there for. You've got to understand the words before you can utilize the words properly. You have to have an open mind and look around. And I think that basically going into the hospital was one of the best things that basically helped me open my mind to, hey, patient, physician is what this is all about. And see, it's a mental sickness if you don't understand the monetary system. Okay, any questions? Anybody there?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
When you mentioned the bear license, is that for them misrepresenting us and using their franchisee name or their capital letter name and calling us dead even though they know we're alive?
No.
You're saying it's tolerated. The bear license is tolerated, merely tolerated.
Yes, it's tolerated. Okay, it's a bearer license. One whose presence or presence on premises is not invited. Okay, and that bar basically license comes into play, and then it's not resisted by you.
Mm-hmm.
Merely tolerated. You tolerate the bar license.
Okay, so when you say that word...
you don't know that they're supposed to be the Garnishees.
Mm-hmm. How do you spell that word bear? Is it B-A-R-E or B-E-A-R?
B-A-R-E, license E, okay?
Yeah, okay.
If you go into Anderson's, I think that's where I pulled it out. Go through all the words that begin with bar, B-A-R.
Right. Okay.
I mean, that's the things that you need to look at. You start with one little word, but you look at all the deviations that word starts with.
Right.
That's where I came across Baron. And basically, now I can see where Bar Association and Baron fit hand in hand.
This whole thing is what you said in the beginning, is that we're all dead, that the birth certificate says that we're dead is only because of the abandonment. Is that what you're saying? So that
they created a dead person to hold a dead vessel to hold our assets because we abandoned our assets. That's what they're claiming we did because we never came in and claimed our patent assets.
So they create a dead person so that they can function.
They created a bankrupt, yes.
A dead vessel bankrupt, okay. Yeah, that's the pretty big crime right there. I mean, that's the whole, like you said, mislabeling, misrepresentation.
Well, it gives you the power to basically terminate this thing. You're not going to bring charges against these guys.
Right.
Okay? You're going to terminate and get out of their system.
Right.
You take the money away from them, and basically then they dry up.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way that basically you can take control of these people. You can't fight them.
Yeah, calling you dead is basically another form of incarceration. They're incarcerating you in a coffin or incarcerating you out of existence.
No, they're calling you a patient. They're not calling you dead. They're calling you a patient.
Okay, yeah.
You're in a mental hospital right now.
Okay.
They're the doctor of law,
right,
of justice. And justice is basically exchangement. Just
right.
exchangement. That
Right.
they're giving us unjust exchangement.
Right.
Because we're not coming in because we're sick. Because we don't know how to demand just exchangement. Because of their convoluted system.
Right.
It's a cancer. But it's curable. All cancers are curable.
Yep. Okay, that's good. I understand now.
And then your manifest is basically going to be a manifest of the garnished vessels fraudulently berthed under the following maritime contracted United States bankrupt support vessels and certificates and set-off account numbers. Charged against my United States American land patent for the berthing of the Patrick Divine land vessel. Number, whatever.
Is that how we're going to start getting some cash or getting some money from the system?
We have to basically get into the land patent and claim our patent, okay? When we claim that and put our claims in and order of termination and liquidation of these garnished vessels, then we will get our rightful inheritance, our assets, land patent assets, and then we will have to, you have to get over your virus, your cancer, and understand how the real monetary system works. Exchangement, just exchangement. And then you will be dealing with the Treasury in the proper regards. The United States of America Treasury, depositary Treasury. It's holding the real assets, not the fraudulent bonded assets. Then you will pay as you go. You won't get into any more contracts. You won't have any more commercial bank accounts or anything like that. You will be able to wean yourself off of their deadly medicines.
You had to give your birth.
Huh?
You had to give your birth date for all the different doctors and departments and everything. Now, how do you avoid getting back into some kind of contract or system?
You're not going to go to a doctor anymore. They're quacks anyway.
Well, you have to get a diagnosis.
For what? You
to know what's wrong.
You start learning about homeopathic stuff. Okay? You start learning how to eat right. Like JFK tried to get the people to go out and exercise and everything back in the 1960s. There was a lot of things that he was trying to do that were right on the money that people don't see. And then all the stuff that you're out there eating, like Pepsi and all this what the hell's that other damn green one? Mountain Dew. Well, hell, half the damn stuff that they put into those contains aluminum. And aluminum is a mind-controlling situation. It's just like fluoride. Fluoride's a byproduct of aluminum, of the aluminum process.
Yes,
and that's what they controlled all the people in World War II in the prison camps in Germany, was with fluoride. It dumbs you down. But that's pretty much it. We need to come in and see these are all garnished, manifest of garnished vessels. They have garnished our assets in all of these certificates and contracts that we have, the mortgages. In that document, it shows you right there that a mortgage is not, they cannot evict you out of that house because of a mortgage. If you read those documents, the court cases are right there. Immunity. A mortgage is only a lien, not a vested interest in the leasehold. Even after a default on a mortgage, the mortgagee only has an equitable lien. The next one down, a court of law will not uphold or enforce an equitable title to the land as a defense to an action of ejectment. But see, nobody uses that court case to come in and protect themselves against the banker. But see, you've got to go in against the banker and do a cross-action, cross-filing or whatever it's called, because the banker is the garnishee. You have to, he's the third party who's holding your funds. You have to bring him now across the table to make the payment.
Is it called a counterclaim?
Whatever.
Okay.
I've touched on all of these items at one time or another over the past 5, 6, 7 years, whatever. I was just a little out of sync on them, and basically that everything that I was saying, I was right on the money. Now it's all coming into a head and basically being pulled together here in the end.
Right.
And it was all under patent, and then basically what is the difference between patent and patient? One little I.
Yeah, letter I.
Just like in birth and birthing. It's the letter I that made the difference. B-I-R-T-H and B-E-R-T-H. B-I-R-T-H means you abandoned or you were separated. B-E-R-T-H means you're anchored or you're harbored to the land. Because that's really where you came from. So you are now patented. The states can't issue territorial land patents Only the United States of America can. The nation.
So that's why we have to go to the federal court for this.
That's why we have to go to the federal territorial court.
Land patent court. Land patent court.
Territorial. Okay? Territorial. Basically, you are a territory. You are a territory above land. And all of these district courts were set up as territorial courts. That means that they were land courts. And they had the right to adjudicate any land patent problems in their area, just like in the movie North to Alaska with John Wayne in it, when basically the claim jumper tried to come in. They had to go to the territorial court to resolve the claim. I know you guys seen a bunch of movies out here. You need to start thinking about what you really did see in those movies. The answer lies right in front of you. You just need to open your eyes and see what you're missing.
Hey, Patrick.
Yeah.
Isn't it kind of like, I would just say planned, or it's like planned fraudulently, like when you make an application for your driver's license and then they shift it over to their garnished name or whatever. They use their name, the dead guy's name, the birth name instead of a B-E-R-T.
They're creating a garnishment that is supposed to be an assurance to pay any of your traffic tickets.
Right, but I mean that's like a conspiracy for them to do that. I mean, it's like, you know, it's a public policy that denies us, you know, what we're supposed to have. That it makes a policy for them to just access your account. But
they are not accessing the account until basically you come in and you don't go into court and you don't put the right claim in court to make them pay the bill.
Right.
Then they take the bill and they you pay out of the back pocket on one side and they're drawing off against the account on the other side.
Right, they're double dipping.
They're single dipping. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
The bill's got to be paid. The charge goes into the public funds, but basically they're siphoning off the other one because they're the bad landlord or the bad caretaker of that mental institution.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the warden of this scenario, of this mental prison, is basically this chief judge for the federal territorial district. He's the warden. But unless you complain about the garnishees or the trustees that are operating within the confinement, he can't do anything.
Right. Just like you're not raped unless you say you're raped. Yeah, I get it.
And see, that's the same thing in court. Unless you come in and you do a cross-filing and you do it against the prosecuting attorney. He's the garnishee.
Yeah.
See, that's the problem that everybody's been really having. They didn't know who to get the funds from and how to go about it. And then they were using the wrong term of trustee. And basically by that definition, and I think that one came out of Bouvier's, the only place the trustee was really used was in Massachusetts. Doesn't say the rest of the country. But everybody out here in the rest of the country is trying to use trustee. No, there is no trust in this country. The only trust is in God. And that means the only trust that there is in you. You're the only one that can trust yourself. You don't trust somebody else. So, if there's no trust, then the only alternative left is that they are garnishees. They're not trustees, they're garnishees. And it fits the mold right to the hilt because they're garnishing our assets. Isn't that what the IRS keeps telling you? We're going to garnish your wages?
Yep.
That's all they can do. They can only place a garnishment against that. But see, you are mentally sick because you don't know how to handle the item. And basically, when you look at those, like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and everything else, about how the people in the hospital, the interns and everything, treat the people, and basically they're sick too, but yet they have control over the other ones, and they treat them like shit. We're not in a prison planet like, what's his name down there in Texas says we're in. No, we're in a mental institution. A financial mental institution. And we're the mental patient. And they're trying to act like intern doctors.
Yeah, you're referring to Alex Jones, right?
Yep.
Yeah, another movie or several movies explanations. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and everything. That's a long time ago.
Still works.
What does the reference to Alex Jones mean? Sorry.
Well, he references Prison Planet.
He calls it prisonplanet.com.
But we're not in a prison planet. We are in a mental institution.
So does that mean he's disinfo?
A lot of people
Well,
say
he doesn't
is.
understand the whole system. That's the problem with most of these people. Some of them are misinformation people out here, but some of them just don't know they're asking for a hole in the ground.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, that's the only correlation there. Yeah, they're still sick, they're still deranged, and they're off sitting over there. I mean, basically, yeah, you watch Go and watch the movie Patch Adams, okay? That's a recent one. And basically he was able to check out. He checked himself in and he checked himself out. Just like the song, Hotel California. And that was way back in the 60s. They were trying to tell us things.
It's called You Could Check In, but You Could Never Leave.
You're not going to leave the system in the patent. You can't leave the land. But you can leave the hospital, the mental institution. That's really what they were trying to say. That they couldn't say everything in the movie, or else basically they would have all been blown away. Or in that song.
Yeah,
and there's other ones out there that have touched upon the same things, and even John Lennon, that's probably why they killed him, because he was getting too damn close to the understanding of what was going on. And if you listen to some of his lyrics, basically you'll see that, yeah, he was touching on quite a few things. Even the guy that was in head of Black Panthers, basically they took him out because he was getting too much of an understanding.
David Lewis here. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was Malcolm X, too.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Well, they didn't want anybody to have any peace or love or joy or happiness. They wanted everybody to be scared and too freaked out.
They wanted control, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, now any questions about the documents that Tom has posted up in the PDF file? Did anybody read them?
There's nothing new yet. There's just the same REV 1.
Yeah.
I filled out the land patent.
Well, from the write-up on those, basically, has anybody got any questions? Did anybody try and put them into the clerk or the county recorder? Did anybody get any feedback from the county recorder?
Not yet. I'm getting my land patent mailed to me. I should get it on Tuesday, and then I'm going to go down and record it along with my birth certificate.
No, you don't do it. That's what I just told you. You're not going to go to them. I was only asking if anybody had tried to go to them and got any feedback. I told you at the beginning that we're not going to them. We're going to the Territorial Land Patent Court, the Federal District Territorial Land Patent Court. The county recorders cannot do anything more. They did the initial filing, and that's it.
Yeah, I did prepare mine and was ready to go, but you caught me in time on that. Yeah,
now, I was just wondering if anybody had gone out there and run into any stumbling blocks, and basically if they got any good feedback from the county recorders.
Well, if I were back in Nebraska, I would have been a friendly one who would have really tried to help me, but I'm not there now. He had a sign up on his wall that he was an admiral in the Nebraska Navy. And now after listening to what you've described, that really sort of makes sense that it's, Admiral of Financial Vessels in there. At least he's working with the fleet.
I don't think that has any correlation whatsoever, Tom.
No, it doesn't. Not any correlation.
So don't even bring it up. Don't even bring it up. Just drop it. Okay.
Okay. It was unusual.
Yeah. You got to look at what you're really wanting to see. Okay. See, that's a false thing that's out there that just is misleading. It's not telling you anything. You got to look for the little things, like basically this item about why do they always ask you for your date of birth?
Mm-hmm.
Why is that so key? Why aren't they asking you for your Social Security number if that's what the set-off number is? Because it's not the set-off. It's not even the transmitting number in a lot of cases. The one that they're using to access our patent is the birth certificate number, or not, is the birth date number.
Okay, right.
And then, see, we have a second birthing date, and that's the date of our patent issue. That's the date we were assigned that patent issue number.
Mm-hmm.
Are you talking about the one that we already have or the one that we're going to get?
The one that you may never have because you never asked the right question to find out when that number was assigned. I just happen to have mine, okay? Because they sent it back, and mine came back 90 days after I was born, okay? I was separated from my mother when the umbilical cord was cut, and I was put adrift, okay? And basically they called that separation or abandonment, and that's the date of birth, D-O-B, B-I-R-T-H, but then the land patent date is my date of B-E-R-T-H. And that was 90 days later on June 2nd, 1949. And that's the real number that I have to operate by, because that one is under the law of the United States of America. And that's normally when you were about 1 year of age to be able to claim your lawful inheritance, your royal inheritance. Because like I said, America is 3 words. And basically right in the middle is the I. I can. And a mayor is a prince, just like admiralty is basically the first 5 letters of admiralty are admir, a prince. The Bar Association may be barons, but we're princes. Therefore, we stand over the barons, just like in the movie Robin Hood. You had the prince and you had the barons. Then you had the sheriffs and all the other little shitheads.
I'm looking at the certificate of live birth that they sent back to me. That's the handwritten one that you said normally wouldn't get. The only other date on it besides my birth date is at the bottom. It's either in a stamp. It says May. It's either 8 days or 13 days after I was born, and it's signed by a registrar.
That was the one at the county, okay?
Okay.
That is not the one that basically has the land patent.
Okay.
See, the land patent number, that county recording had to be issued out, sent up to the state, and then from the state issued to the Department of Interior, who is over the territorial lands. Go in and read about territorial or territories. Anderson's dictionary has a good definition of that and basically telling you where this all goes into, and that's where the Department of Interior comes in, is that they're able to then issue out the land patent for the United States of America. And then that number comes back down the line to the state registrar, and then that number then was attached to that certificate of live birth. That number, there was no number on there except 114 or 11 whatever, your 3 digits, blank. When it went in the first time.
Well, how is 134 and it doesn't have that on any document here?
I don't know how you're going to get it, Tom. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, that 3-digit state code that I posted up does have your Iowa as 114.
Yes.
And it shows New York has 3 different districts.
Yes. A lot of states have more than that. Or California, I think, has 4 or 5.
Okay, Missouri, my state file number is 124, then -57, which is my birth year.
But that 11, the first 3 digits is the federal district.
Right.
Federal territorial district. That's it. That's all that number is. In the state of Iowa, there's 2 federal territorial districts. There's the northern and there's the southern. Some states only have 1. There's 50 states, but there's 96 federal territorial districts, territorial land districts. You understand that?
Yes.
That's all that is. It's for land patents.
My birth certificate was filed like a month after my birth date. Would I call that the patent
No,
date?
you wouldn't. You have to try and find out when the patent was issued.
Okay, have we gone over that in the past? Of this
You may
recording?
have to go to the Department of Interior if you do not have that.
Okay.
But you have your court case number, and you don't necessarily need to have that. You should be able to find that out from the Federal Territorial Land Patent Court. And see, that is probably the green jacket that we were looking for years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, trying to do our green jacket filings.
Well, just last year we were doing green jacket.
No, we were trying to do them basically for about the last 4 or 5 years, I think, off and on. I've been trying to do that. But that would be putting it into the Territorial Land Patent Court.
Right. Okay.
And see, I didn't see that court was there. But that's what these federal districts were all set up on, was the Federal Territorial Land Patent.
The documents that you were referring to that, oh, by the way, forgive my ignorance. I'm new to all of this. This is my first call. I have to do my research and all that. I understand that. But this stuff that you're talking about now, the documents that you referred to just recently, they uploaded, do they cover all of this that you're talking about?
No, they're going to be changed. They're going to be modified. It was I took those into my county recorder. I got them notarized at the sheriff's office, and then I took them into the county recorder, and she tried to put them into the system for both my certificate of live birth registration patent number and also for my selective service military patent number. See, I've got 2 land patents. One for my birthing, B-E-R-T-H, and one for my military service. And even if you didn't serve in the military, you still have a patent claim, a military patent claim, because you gave 9 or 7 years of obligation to the military. And the land always owes you something in return.
What about naturalized citizens?
You would do your naturalization document.
Okay.
You had to be land patented here to become part of the nation, the United States of America. So you were an import of land being anchored here in America.
Okay.
And you had to have 7 years or something like that, whatever it was, before you got naturalized, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Pat?
All right. Well, thank you.
See how all this starts to fit together?
Yes.
I mean, it's mind-blowing, but basically that's why we're in a mental institution, because we've blown our minds.
Hey, Patrick?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Gary. I got my birth. I got a problem with the birth.
You got to speak up a little. I can barely hear you.
Going on here. I got a problem with the birth certificate word you're saying. I got my birth certificate from my hospital. It's B-I-R-T-H. I got the one from Vital Statistics, and they're all B-I-R-T-H. There's no B-E-R-T-H in any of these documents, hospital or Vital Statistics. They're all B-I-R-T-H. No
Right.
B-E anywhere.
Right. You're not going to see the B-E-R-T-H. The only thing you know is that basically, like they sent my hospital birth certificate, the statistics, and they wrote out the certificate of live birth document. That went into the county recorder's office. Mm-hmm. The clerk of the court, there at the district county court, was the one that put that into the record book in my case. Now they've changed that around. It used to be the clerk of the court in most all cases, but they've changed that now to where the county recorder does it. But then the county recorder, after that entry is made, turns around and sends that up to the Bureau of Vital Statistics or the health department, okay? And then they, from the health department, or Bureau of Health Statistics, sends that off to the Department of Interior. The Department of Interior then turns around and assigns you your birthing patent, okay, that you are now a patented land of the United States of America. They turn around, assign the patent number, completing the rest of the number after the first 3 digits, and put the sequencing number behind that, okay, to give your patent number. Then they send that back to the state. The state then records that, and in my state, they turned around and sent me a copy of that, saying that they had just entered that on June 2nd, 1949, and that if I wanted a certified copy of that, it would cost me 50 cents, and I could get a certified copy of that.
Okay, yeah, I understand, but you were saying earlier you have documents here from vital statistics where it's BERTH, and I get no record of that anywhere, ever.
Right. You're not going to see that, and that's the key thing. They left that completely out. And see, that is because we're in this mental institution, and these damn doctors, quack doctors, law doctors out here, they're quacks, and basically they're all in there for their own profit. They don't want you to know about that. Of course, they don't want them to know about it either, because basically then the doctors will get out and start operating on their own.
Right.
As real men of law.
Just wonder where you were referencing that to, EERT, with a ship or a dock or whatever.
Yeah.
So, you mentioned it, so if you mentioned it, it had to be written somewhere, and I'm not aware of it, or I can't see it in any of my documentation.
Yeah, you're not going to see it anywhere. You just got to read it in the definitions and see that that's really where it's at.
And not only that, you can even find BIR or BERT in Bogier's
in some cases, that's why you almost have to go. You're not going to find it in a lot of the law dictionaries out there. And I mean, birthing, BERTH, that should be in all the dictionaries. Because what does a ship do? It bursts itself.
Yeah, it's not in any of the
Why did they leave it out? Because they didn't want the public to know about this.
Right.
Yeah, you go into I got a 1933 Oxford Universal Dictionary, and basically it's got almost like one whole column in the damn thing about birth, BERTH, birthing the vessel, birthing this, birthing that. And see, that's when you get attached to the land. You're dropping anchor. You're berthing yourself in a safe harbor. You're not in the harbor yet.
Yeah, then
we're claiming we want to have safe harbor and everything, but until you get into the harbor, you can't claim safe harbor.
Right.
You're still adrift out at sea.
That's where it puts you under Title 46, who's shipping vessels there.
Yeah, that's why Title 46 comes into play. And see, they hid that away too.
Right.
Yeah. Chapter 573 for basically like the certificate of live birth. That was supposed to be terminated at the age of 25. For the military, it was Chapter 73. The seamen's accounts that basically they owe to the people. Merchant Marine and seaman, basically the same thing. But see, that's what they got you into, being a merchant marine in their system when you did serve.
I just want to throw that out there, that there's no BERTH anywhere. Some people know if they do speak up. I'd like to know if any other state has it where it's BERTH, but as Pat just said, chances are you ain't going to find it.
Yeah, I think I found it in one dictionary, and that was I can't remember which one it was, but it just barely said anything. I can't remember whether it was in Anderson's or Valentine's, Black's Fourth or Black's First. Then it wasn't in the other one. So, but yeah, really, I had to go to my Oxford, and that's when in a lot of cases, if they're missing the word, they're missing it for a reason. They're hiding it from you.
Third.
guys don't do things for naught.
Hey, Patrick, a couple calls ago, you mentioned quite a bit of stuff that made sense about misbranding, mislabeling, misrepresentation, miscarriage, and then, you're adding a couple more of the same thing today. But,
yeah, there's quite a few more misses that I can see now about the miscarriage of justice and just miscarriage itself, that definition.
Yeah.
Basically, when you look at it, it's not just about getting rid of a fetus, but it's...
you mentioned misuse and a couple and things like that today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the misuse. Yeah, miscarriage. In reference to the application of the statute of frauds to an oral contract to answer for the miscarriage of another, the default of a third person upon his debt or obligation for which the promisor had undertaken to answer.
Right.
Traffic ticket. Basically, that county prosecutor is sitting there, and he is the one who is supposed to be the third person because he is the garnishee.
Right.
And see, that's the problem that everybody had. They never knew that there was a third person that is out here that is the one that is obligated to make the payment. Not our bankrupt person, not us, but this garnishee. That's the third person. And see, that is the third cross. That is the bad thief that was hanging on Calvary. That's the one that we're not going to see when we go to heaven here on earth. We're going to get rid of these garnishees.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it all makes sense now when you start looking at all of this stuff and putting the players into the right retrospect, right. Even in the plays that were written back 2,000 years ago. Shakespeare tried to write a bunch of this stuff into his plays, but people didn't understand it. It just went right over their head because they're all sick. And then this delivery, basically, the delivery of the assets are still coming out, but basically they're not going to set off the item because we did not direct them to be set off in the proper way. Because we didn't come in and order the garnishee to make the set-off. So the garnishee is sitting there getting all the benefits from the garnishment. Because we were trying to use the word trustee.
Well, once you understand this, and you understand their fraud, and you ask them to do that, if they don't do it...
You don't ask them. You charge them.
Oh, yeah, charge them, yeah.
You have to turn around and do a cross-action charging against the garnishee to bring him forward.
Right, right.
Read the definition about garnishment and garnishee and in the dictionary.
Okay.
The trustee process. That's the big one right there. You have to bring that third person forward. The bankruptcy court and the bankruptcy trustees, they're really garnishees. The county attorneys, they're garnishees. The courts are just administrators, and you're not doing your job to basically force the administrator to bring forward the garnishee to make the payment. Garnishment, a proceeding by a creditor to obtain satisfaction of the indebtedness out of property or credits of the debtor, that's your bankrupt person, in the possession of and owing by a third person, the person instituting the proceeding being generally referred to as the creditor or plaintiff. In the person indebted, the creditor being called the debtor or defendant. See, you've got to turn the tables on them and now become the plaintiff, and the third person has to become the defendant now to make the payment.
Okay.
But the judge or that administrator, and he's not really a judge, he's just a placeholder, okay? And I went over that about these damn office. They're not really an office. They don't have an oath of office because they're a placeholder, and there is no oath of placeholder. So they're just an administrator. So don't go into court and argue about where's your oath of office, where's this, where's that. You understand where you sit in the damn process and stop arguing lunacy items that have no relevance whatsoever on the situation. Because it's just going to prove that you are more insane than you really are.
Well, we as men and women are only as smart as like what we're taught or what our environment, stimulates us to learn.
That's wrong.
But
we're
all
supposed
this
to.
missing information is in the dictionary. I know you're
okay. We are a patented land. Okay.
Right.
Now you also have to have a homestead exemption for your patented land. To claim a homestead exemption, you have to cultivate the land. That means you have to go out and cultivate your mind. That is what you are in possession of, is your mind. And how do you cultivate your mind? You bring as much knowledge into that mind as you can, and you process it and make it grow in understanding.
Right.
You teach yourself.
Yes, you have to show cultivation.
And the only way you're going to be able to do that is to demonstrate the proper use of the words like you're doing.
That's right. You have to understand the words, and basically that's been all throughout the Bible. Know the word. The word is what needs to be understood. It's not just one word, but it's a whole bunch of words. And that's what basically the Tower of Babel was all about, was they polluted the words so that nobody understood what everybody else was doing. This isn't something new. Okay? This is the same scenario that's been served up to the people of this planet for thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years. All the way back to Adam and Eve. But I think when you look at garnishee and garnishments, this is a big item. And then also you look at that you are a patient and that these bar associations people are doctors of law or the physicians, but they're intern physicians because they're in the system, in the mental institution too. I mean, in a lot of cases, they're no smarter than you are. They just been taught certain things to control certain items. Here, push this drug off on the people. We don't know what it does, but basically push it off on them because we'll give you a little kickback. That's the way the regular hospital's up there until basically I got this little Indian nurse or doctor, cute little thing, and she's going to work with me because I stood up to her. I said, I don't want those other drugs. And I gave her the maple syrup and boric soda or baking soda recipe, and she's going to look at that.
Yeah, coconut oil and baking soda is supposed to be good too.
There you go.
There's a lot of other things out here, okay? Vinegar. Basically, you've got to get your pH right, okay? And that's what the basic majority of all the people out here, they don't know what their pH is.
Just the way
they're operating in the wrong pH level, and that's why you get out of control.
You're absolutely right, Patrick. I've done a lot of study on this stuff. I keep doing it all the time, and that's the best thing going right now is the pH remedy.
If this information is somewhere in the files that we have uploaded, where do we learn about this?
You go in and start looking about these different items. There's people on the group site that have been sending me some of this information. It's not on the group site. That Tom has some of it, and basically there's other people that have different items. You can ask. There's a Skype group that you can join with Tom and put some of those questions to it. But basically, once you start getting this understanding about your mental sickness, right now, monetary mental sickness, then you'll free yourself up to go out and study the rest of the stuff about the rest of your health.
Right.
Okay.
Read the welcome letter, and it tells you how to get into the Skype group. And there are links to this posted in the Skype group a couple of days ago.
You are a member of the group site, right?
Dave, did you ask about these links? I think it was.
Did you lose him?
No, he's not responding. He's still there, though.
Okay, you guys can go ahead and talk if you want to have open discussion. I'm going to drop off here. I got to go get my mom ready for bed. So
Okay.
I'll talk to you
Thank
guys
you very
later.
much, Patrick. God, pull all of these definitions out, and I'll keep going at it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Talk to you
Yeah,
later.
Patrick, I'm pulling for you to get out of that. I hope you start feeling better.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Bye.
Take care.